Life Drawing.
Welcome to Life Drawing with Jon and Jacqueline. Brought to you by Cottonwood.
Cottonwood Center.
Brought to you by
Cottonwood Center for the Arts.
Cottonwood Center for the Arts. Welcome to Life Drawing with Jon and Jacqueline, a show about navigating the arts, life, and digressing, brought to you by Cottonwood Center for the Arts. On today's episode, critique, friend or foe, and why Colorado Springs needs a lot more of it. While today's episode is occasionally poignant, it mostly reads like an AI hallucination about how American President Fred Flintstone was the greatest curator of all time.
So this is our second show.
Yeah.
And I guess the first thing I would say is if there is anyone watching, I'm going to guess it's probably two people at this point, like your dad and my mom. But if you are out there, hopefully we build our audience beyond those two. But I think...
But if not, that's enough.
It's plenty. And you know what? They don't have to know that they're the only two people who are tuning in.
You just told everybody.
You just tell them they're part of them. You know, there's a million people that watch. Okay, anyhow. So we are going to try, based on the way we're introduced, is that we're going to be talking about art.
Yes.
Navigating the arts.
Yeah.
Life.
Mm-hmm.
And
the pursuit of...
digression.
The pursuit of digression.
The pursuit of digression. All right. So
the pursuit
life,
of happiness,
life,
which is
art,
bullshit.
And digression. So, all right. So
who came up with life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness?
Probably
Thomas
Yeah.
Edison?
No, not Thomas Edison.
Oh, that's the light bulb guy. He came up with light, though. Pursuit of light. The other Thomas the train engine.
Jefferson?
Jefferson?
You mean the president?
I don't know. Was he?
Thomas Jefferson was the
He
president.
was not the president.
Jacqueline.
It was Benjamin Franklin who wasn't the president.
Ben Franklin was not the president. But
See,
the thing I
yeah.
love about Ben Franklin is he was not only involved in the American Revolution, but he was a huge part of the French Revolution. Did you know that?
He just was in it, like revolution was the main thing. Like he just liked it.
Do you know
wherever it
that
was.
he got all of his outfits at the Ark in the costume shop?
You could listen. We can make this an ad for the Ark. I'm like, do you want to be Benjamin Franklin this holiday season?
You know what? If the Ark
Go to the Ark.
If the Ark was the only clothing store, I'd be fine.
Yeah.
Because they have basic, and it's all affordable. And if you get something and you don't really like it, it's not that big a deal. You can pass it on to someone else.
Thrift
or
stores
give
are
it back.
expensive now, though.
Please.
When's the last time that you've been to a thrift store?
You don't think I was at a thrift store recently? I would say.
How recently?
1982, 83.
Just last year with Benjamin Franklin?
Yeah.
And there was a revolution?
That was 200 years. Benjamin Franklin was 200 years before.
When do you think the first thrift store came about?
That's a good question.
That is a good question. Probably Thomas Edison.
It probably was the result of like the stock market crash in 1927 or something.
You think that early?
Well, I mean, when you think that people just needed to basically be able to get things for as close to nothing as possible, you know what? We can look it up.
It's just better to speculate
from now
wildly
on,
without knowledge.
When we do our show, we're going to have a computer.
A Googler?
To fact check you and me.
We don't need to be fact checked.
We are all over the map.
Fact check. Thomas Edison invented the first thrift store in 1901 when there was a costume shortage, the great plague of the revolutionary costume exchange.
So would you consider what we've done so far what was the word we used for our third thing? Would you say that was the digression part? Can we get to it?
Yeah.
All right. So what we're just going to chat about for a few minutes today
is cats.
Is critiques. Critiques.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And I don't remember. When you do your classes, do you critique your writers?
No. Yes. No. See, so we really want to talk about why everyone is so afraid of critique. But I think there are different levels of critique or buckets. It's different in a classroom, I think, versus in the arts.
Yeah, like if you're in grad school, critique is part of the curriculum, right?
Yeah.
Or whatever, however you would describe that.
Like for my writing students, people always want their work to be really critiqued. And by critique, they mean be really mean to it so that I can get better at my craft.
Okay, when does that happen?
like in a writing class. People want
Okay,
people
in a
want,
writing
yeah,
class,
in like
right.
a writing class. But we really have aligned the word critique and negativity as one thing. But critique just means thoughtful feedback.
Well, of course it does, but unfortunately it's just one of those words that's going to exist. However, whatever people's inference of the word is the only thing that matters.
Yeah.
So if they think that they're being critiqued, it doesn't.
harsh and negative.
It's hard, you know. But what I will say is, I found in this city that there's virtually no critiquing.
No.
Well, what I'll say, like even from our media, and I know it's really hard because, you know, it's not like we have comprehensive coverage of every art thing that goes on, but we actually do a pretty good job of covering the arts in the city, which is really good. But what I like, even the Gazette and what you might hear on, let's say, one of our radio stations or something, like that, it is out there.
Yeah.
But so often, from my experience anyway, being in the city for 13 or so years now, is we have a tendency in this town to applaud all levels of art. Which, by the way, there is something to that because you do want to encourage people.
Yeah.
But what I wonder is that a formula to elevate the quality of the art that's being produced in this city?
Yeah. Well, don't we all miss out when we can't thoughtfully engage with art?
Well, yeah. But the question is, if we get into critiquing, where I think we should be more critical. Like, even at Cottonwood, like we do a show. If someone came in here and said, "It's a really kind of, wasn't that great," or whatever words they were using, I actually think that would ultimately push us to do better.
Yeah.
But it's also really hard because you want people. Not everyone produces art to potentially be shown at the Museum of Modern Art in New York.
Yeah.
They're producing art for their sake, right?
And also, who says what is good and bad is like a really big question.
You know what? That is definitely true. But here's the thing that I would say.
Joe Schmo says, well, this sucks, doesn't mean it sucks.
No, I totally agree. But I can tell you, in most things in life, there actually are people that are really good at things, and there actually are people that still participate, but they're not that good at things.
Well, yeah. Like, haven't you seen kids play sports?
Yeah.
They're bad.
Yeah.
It's funny.
No, it's funny, yeah. But of course, then you have to encourage too. But at some point,
you do have to encourage. Yeah.
You do have to encourage.
Because then they won't ever get better. Well.
Or they might give up. See, now here's the weirdest thing in art, okay?
People give up.
When I was in maybe 7th or 8th grade, I had an art teacher.
Yeah.
And I drew some picture. I don't remember. I might have been trying to draw Fred Flintstone or something like that. Anyway.
He invented the light bulb and the thrift store.
He was also our second president. Okay.
He was
so I drew a picture.
Revolution.
Let's say it was a Fred Flintstone.
Okay. Classic.
Is that a copyright thing if I mention Fred Flintstone?
You have to say lead Flintstone.
Okay, lead Flintstone. Okay. So I drew a picture.
I want to sing the tune there, but I can't think of it.
The Flintstones?
Yeah. Oh, meet the Flintstones. Yeah, something time.
Yeah. I actually really like that song. I like the running on the ground with
I know, that's what I was doing.
the bare feet.
I was running,
Okay,
Yeah,
so
okay. You were drawing Fred
So I took
Flintstone.
this piece of art to my art teacher, who's a super nice guy, and big, tall, hulking dude. And I said, "Mr. Johnson, can you tell me for real, do I have any talent as an artist?" Now, I don't know that I used those exact words, but
more or less.
But I kind of did want to know.
Yeah.
Because art was not a requirement in high school or 7th or 8th grade, whatever it was, middle school, whatever they call that. And I kind of wanted to know because I was interested in pursuing a lot of things. And I did have artistic abilities. Like I love to sing and I love to dance or whatever, even like disco dancing at Studio 54. Anywho, and I said, "Do I actually have any talent as an artist?" And he looked at me and said, "Not really." So here's the weird thing, okay?
You never got over it.
I got over it, but I never once tried to draw again.
See, and that's shitty.
Is it?
Yes, yeah. Partially, I think the word talent is overused. Like, talent is overused, the word inspiration is overused. And I think we tend to think of a lot of things in that binary of good versus bad.
Yeah.
And in critique, we're like, we think that's the only options. This piece of art is bad. This piece of art is good. I'm like, those are the two most unhelpful categories. I'm like, good and bad. Like in my classes, we never use those words because I'm like, they're boring, they're unimportant, they do nothing. There's a million more interesting questions underneath good and bad, right?
I agree.
Even like a better question there would be like, why did you want to draw Fred Flintstone? Like, what do you want to be doing in this moment? What does this look like to you? What did you want it to look like?
Right, but also keep in mind that some art is produced
and it's bad
because it's therapy for the artist.
Yeah.
Right? Like even if you're not a good dancer or you're not a good painter or whatever, it's therapy for them. So you don't want to discourage it.
Yeah.
But as a city, just to extrapolate out from that and think in a bigger way, as a city, to get respect for what we do as a city, I believe we need
to step
professionals critiquing the shows around town.
And again, it doesn't mean good or bad.
No, it doesn't mean good or bad. Or even reviewing them, honestly reviewing them for their entertainment value, for their execution, for whatever terminology they want to use. And instead, my general sense here is that we're basically clapping for everything. Like, oh, it's so wonderful that we're doing this. And we've always had a lot of art in this city.
Yeah.
If you go back to the beginnings.
It's a lot of the same stuff. You see a lot of the same stuff.
Yes. Right. Well, that's a whole different issue in a way. But it's also part of it because you do kind of get tired of seeing the same thing. So that in itself is a critique of sorts to say, look, you guys, beautiful painting of Pikes Peak. But we're really looking for artists that are exploring the inner life of people, for example, or whatever. I mean, there has to be something that pushes people to garner the respect so that people, because there is amazing art being produced in this town, but it gets a little lost because there's so much of it.
And so much of the similar subject matter.
Well, there's that too. So it's not an easy thing to do, and I don't say I have a straight, easy answer for you, but man, I would love to see someone just not be afraid to come right out and say, oh my God,
we're afraid to do it.
We're afraid to
do it.
Yeah.
And it's like, I think, is it because it's like slightly political or we've shied away from it for so long? Mm-hmm. And
Probably a combination of those two.
My question is like, why don't, because I do think like when you really examine a piece of art, as the artist, you keep pushing. And I think some artists stop pushing. And I'm curious, I'm like, where's that internal push? And I think some artists don't have it. Mm-hmm. And
But the question is, could we be shutting down people who might start to produce later through critiques?
Like you with your
Like
Fred
me,
Flintstone.
but I was a kid.
Yeah.
But I kind of took it on the chin and I was like, you know what? You're probably right. And then I turned to other things and I really pursued the other things that I love, like sports.
Yeah.
By the way, I love to play the piano. I was like the jock kid that was like the first one to join our choir. So maybe the end result was that it made me have to veer away from that specific thing so that I could discover that I actually had talent at other things.
I'm with you. But I think like that veer I think should happen, but I don't know if the veer should entirely hinge upon Mr. Johnson's opinion. Mm-hmm. You know, that's the thing. Like, veer when you need to.
But he was the only person in a position to make an assessment.
But like,
I asked for it.
Sure. But you know what I mean? Like, when I was that age too, I just found this like pencil drawing of Abraham Lincoln I did. Mm-hmm. Like, do I do pencil drawings of presidents
Wasn't
now?
he friends with Thomas Jefferson?
Yeah, he invented the thrift store. But like I don't know, I did that, and is it fine? Like it's a pencil drawing. Like you're learning the skills. Mm-hmm. Like if somebody had shut me down then, I wouldn't have taken all the steps where I am now, where I don't do pencil drawings. I make all sorts of weird shit.
Right.
But like I had to be drawing boring portraits then. And if somebody was like, well, this portrait sucks.
Okay, so you teach drawing classes at Cottonwood, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. What are they, is it one class or two?
We have a whole bunch of drawing classes. We got like drawing 1, drawing 2.
Okay, drawing 1, drawing 2.
Hands,
Okay.
faces,
So
figures.
where do you start with those people? Do you start exclusively on technique? Or do you talk about inspiration right off the bat? Or do you talk about the relevance of the artwork? Or do you even get there? Or do you just kind of teach people how to put the pencil to...
A little bit of that.
Okay.
For drawing, I want it to be, like I always say, drawing's important because it's a way to see the world. Like to pay attention. Like to pay attention to yourself, how things appear. It's like the art of attention. But
Right.
in drawing, I think you just got to have some skills. And I'm like, you don't need to be...
You mean they need to learn some skills, or they need
Yeah.
to be born with some skills?
No, learn them.
Okay.
And practice them. I say this with my writing students too, of like, we think that the arts is like the sky's open and the writing muse drops down, right? On the
what
third
drops down?
The writing muse, like the great
Oh, the
muse of
writing
all the
muse,
things, and
okay.
she like alights you and you have the gift or not. And I just think that's bullshit. I just think it's
Well, I'd say for some, but there are people that do have kind of the voice of God in them
Sure.
the day they're born.
yeah, but it's not helpful. It's not helpful if you have it, and it's not helpful if you don't have it.
Right.
It's just work. You know, it's just work.
Dude,
Drawing.
Dude, I sure miss gardening.
You know, they did a study, a real study. January 19th is statistically the most depressing day of the whole year.
Yeah, and the days just keep getting longer.
I can't even afford Botox. I've been scotch taping my 11 lines at night.
I thought you used that Japanese washi tape.
It's too expensive. My socks don't match. They keep scheduling protests on laundry day.
That's every day.
What's a girl to do?
Well, I blew dry January and ate all the booze out of my stocking candy. Threw away the chocolate. Did you know the best ingredient for growing wildflowers is rage?
Sam seems fine. What's her secret?
Victory Garden. If it's the third Sunday of the month, it's the Victory Garden Market at Cottonwood Center for the Arts. Come enjoy tasty treats and fresh nibbles from local vendors, while CSU Master Gardeners provide tips and information on everything from soil amendment, water-wise practices, and seed starting. So much more. It's garden o'clock somewhere in the Victory Garden Market.
Let's bounce back to this idea of the city thing. Like, I grew up in New York,
Yeah.
and
Do they have any art there?
a little bit here and there, yeah. Let's take New York. I'm not saying that New York necessarily is the best, but let's take New York
Sure.
as kind of all right. Let's start with
They're
what
not
they
afraid.
do there. They're not afraid, right? But they're not afraid too because there's an incredible quantity of work.
Yeah.
There are museums vying and jockeying to be the best known for
Yeah.
what they do. Like it's a competitive kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I still believe that in our little town of Colorado Springs, Colorado, where quite honestly art preceded almost everything when it came to building this city, it was that foundationally when the city was founded even, art was a big part of it. I mean, there was the design of the city itself, the parks that were integrated into it. There was I guess it was the Broadmoor School of Art, something like that. And whatever they were doing at the Fine Arts Center. The Fine Arts Center didn't open, I think, till 1930 or something. But even before, there was a whole school of art, almost like the equivalent of like the Hudson River painters. Is that what they were called? Do you know?
No.
And that was a really strong component of this city. And then my impression is that the demographics changed a lot here.
Yeah.
And it became a very military town, for one. And now, let's say other groups that doesn't mean they don't like art, but I would say that art was not a priority for them.
Sure.
Art in the traditional sense.
Yeah.
So I think that it faded because of that, and people went kind of elsewhere. But there was a time, and I think people who are listening from Colorado Springs can tell you, that Colorado Springs' nickname was Little London. Did you know that?
That's cute.
Yeah. And that tells you a lot. Like maybe we were on the threshold of becoming, certainly in the Southwest, like the center for art. But it's never discouraged people from producing art.
No.
Here. Even if they're just painting paintings of Pikes Peak or whatever, there's always been a lot. But
why does critique go in the wayside?
I don't know. So, I'll tell you another thing. When I first came to Cottonwood, we did an abstract show.
Yeah.
Which now, 13 plus years later, people would say, what was the big deal? Trust me when I tell you, when we did this show, people were beside themselves happy that we were doing it.
Huh.
And
like that was monumental?
It was kind of monumental.
13 years ago?
Yeah.
That's like women couldn't get a credit card till like last year.
Oh, well,
it's like the same time frame, basically.
That is basically the same time frame, yeah.
Although someone should take away my credit card.
You're gonna have to take care of that yourself, young lady. Okay. Well, anyway, so we did this abstract show,
which is like how the first abstract show that they did, like way back when.
Who's they?
Like in the origination of it. What was it? It was like that guy who painted all the dark paintings, and he like went to jail. They
you mean for painting abstraction?
Yes.
Like he must be insane?
Like in the grand art historical scope, that first, when you only did realism, and then he did a show, and he the sky was sort of blurry because he was like, that's how I interpret it. And they sent him to jail.
Right. That's not surprising. I mean, it's like a woman in 1963.
But that was so long ago. And so then just 13 years ago, people were like, abstract.
Now, just remember too, this is my impression.
Okay.
But what happened was we put this call for entries out.
Okay.
And we had, no exaggeration, 400 plus entries for a show that we were going to hang in this gallery of 30 or 40 pieces.
Which, what do you think the average we get call for entries now is?
100 maybe.
So,
which is pretty good, actually.
That's a lot.
But this was right out of the gate for me and for Cottonwood. We run this abstract show. Now, the thing that legitimized it, too, is that we had 2 jurors, both connected to Colorado College. So they came in here with, machete eyes and really, with no apologies, cut 370 out of 400 pieces to make this show work.
Yeah.
And we got this incredible show. It was incredibly well received, and I credit those guys a lot. But then we offered all the people that didn't get into the show, who were shocked that they didn't get into the show, bring their work in and have it be critiqued by our 2 jurors.
That's interesting.
It was interesting. And yes, some people were pissed.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? And this and that and everything else. But it not only elevated our show, for that specific show.
But those artists, got better.
Heck, yes, they did.
There's no way you wouldn't.
But they were hurt.
Well, good.
Well, okay, fine. You say good, but when you're the one being hurt, it hurts.
Okay, well, yeah. But
all right, so it was hard.
Yeah, good.
Okay.
That's good.
All right, so the question is...
more of that.
Should we be doing more of that? And by the way, should that translate to what we do in our media? Is our media afraid to do it because they think people are going to bum out on the newspaper because they wrote something negative about something that TheaterWorks was doing, or Cottonwood was doing, or the Philharmonic was doing? Yeah. We need those places to exist, and I want them to exist. And I want them to keep getting better and better, right?
Keep getting better and better.
But there's also this component where maybe the only way we really, really elevate is to have outsiders like journalists look at what we are producing.
And ask better questions.
Yeah.
Rather than just describing... Ask better questions.
Right. Well, yeah. Well, I mean, what do you say? But the writers wouldn't ask questions in what they're writing. They would give us better...
They could.
They might give us a real perspective on what they thought of the work.
Well, I'm kind of wondering, is the differentiation between the word critique and curation. I think they used to maybe be more one and the same, right? There is
maybe like during Thomas Jefferson's time,
or Fred Flintstone. He's the ultimate curator. But right, I mean, now we view curation as
don't underestimate Fred Flintstone with art. That guy had a rock on the wall and he called it art.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so now if I said, Jacqueline, you have to make a decision on this. And I'm going to say, you got to give me a yes or a no on this, okay? Do you think we can improve and elevate the perception of the city and the art that's being produced by integrating a more critical, in this way, atmosphere to have that done?
Yes.
I do too.
Like, even when you said, you're like, oh, their feelings were hurt. I'm like, well, good. I'm like, artists are babies. Babies.
Right.
Toughen up. Like,
Some of them are babies. You're not a baby.
I'm not a baby. I'm a baby. But, like, also maybe, like, imagine being a writer. Writers are a lot tougher. You know how many rejections I get? Like, a month?
More than you get acceptance letters.
Oh.
right.
Way more.
I know.
And here now somebody's like, oh, my painting didn't get in. I'm like,
well, that's kind of good, actually.
Good.
It means that you got to
get better.
Right. And in our case, a lot too. We send out a call for entry, and we really are asking for pieces to really be about the call or your interpretation. So we sometimes will get a piece that's like, oh my God, this is an awesome piece.
Yeah.
But it has nothing to do with the call.
So true. Yeah.
Which is also part of the critique. And the other thing that happens with art is we could be doing a show, and like currently we have this cats in
cradles
with
cats.
threatening auras.
Cats with threatening auras. Yeah.
Thank you, Claudia. And there were some pieces that might have even been about cats.
Yeah.
But they still didn't fit. It doesn't mean we didn't love the piece.
Again, it's
we
not
loved
good
the
and
piece,
bad.
but it didn't fit the thing. So there's a lot of different ways
that's
to
a good
get those
point.
critiques.
And I tell my writing students that. I'm like, because you'll get rejected just a million trillion times. And like, you've got to, that's what I mean, like, get a little tougher because and keep going. But know that sometimes it's like, it got rejected just because you maybe did the instructions wrong.
Yeah.
But people aren't going to tell you, oh, we rejected it because you forgot to do this step that we asked you to do. They just say no.
Well, we even
here.
reject pieces here because they don't have the right hardware on the back.
Yeah.
And that's kind of unfortunate, but that is a component of it. The execution of the work, in some cases, is really relevant. It's like putting a frame that you think is cool, but doesn't really lend itself to work well for the piece.
What are you doing?
And sometimes those pieces don't get in.
Yeah.
Like, there are real reasons, and that the only way that we continue to get better and better work is by setting those standards, critiquing within here.
Yeah.
But then I want the next step to happen, which is that, a radio like our local NPR station come in here and actually put a little bit of juice into it.
Yeah.
Not just tell us about a show that's opening somewhere, but why that show is really important, or why that show didn't work, or why that show this, or why that show that. And I think in coordination, if you're doing it in classes, and Cottonwood is doing it when we're doing our entries and we're during our shows, and then we have our media that's also attacking that, I guarantee you that the end result will be that we will be producing way better work, and it will elevate the entire city as a result, because people's impression of Colorado Springs is not necessarily what we want it to be.
Yeah.
I think it's a really beautiful city. It has so much to offer, and so much this and so much that. I can go on forever. But there is something culturally where I think we're perceived as lacking.
Yeah.
And it's not for quantity, it's for quality. But the quality is happening. We're just not distinguishing.
We don't know how to notice
between the two.
Yeah. And maybe too, it's like that learning those levels of like with my students, I always ask them, what did you like about this piece in their writing? Like, what do you like about it? Because I want them.
What do they like about their own work?
Yes. I want them to develop a good foundation of, this is kind of like, this is my voice. This is what my work does. This is what my work struggles to do. And if you have at least a somewhat level foundation of that, then someone else comes along and is like, oh, I hate this. You're not like entirely crumbled. Right. Or somebody's like, I love this. And then you're like, oh, I'm the voice of a generation. I'm like, no, those are like auxiliary voices that help you hone, but you need to hone that first. That's why, like, you as a high school kid of being like, no, you don't have it. I'm like, that's when you wouldn't have a foundation yet of your own internal sense of,
I know, but of course there were kids who could draw like with their eyes closed, and they could do one with their left hand and one with their right hand. And, I mean, that's what I meant about some people are born kind of with that voice of God in them to begin with.
Yeah. But again, I don't think a yes or a no should hinge on someone else's opinion always.
I totally
at
agree
a younger level.
At a younger level, right.
But I think the same thing. I mean, when I was like in, 8th grade, I really was convinced, this is insane, that if I just worked really hard, I could make it into the WNBA.
Right.
Like, I thought that.
Right.
That's stupid. But I really thought if I worked, it is. Like,
well, you mean unrealistic, you mean?
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean stupid.
But I kind of wish somebody had told me.
Look.
Because I also did art at the time, and I wrote, and that came so naturally to me. I didn't even, it was zero, it was like effort, but zero effort, really.
I need to play one-on-one basketball against you. I got to see what you really
Should we do that?
Yeah.
Should that be the next one?
We can have
I'd like be out there like doing free throws for hours every night. Like, I really thought, and in a sense, yeah, like I do. I've got a good work ethic now. But I kind of wish somebody had said, like, listen, babe, you're probably not going to make it into the WNBA, no matter how hard you try. Mm-hmm. I still have that thought of, like, if I want something, if I just work really hard. Mm-hmm. But that also gets in the way.
I still feel like there's a chance the Yankees might call me because they need an outfielder.
They might.
I know.
My dad's still at the NFL draft. He just sits by the phone.
And just waits.
Yeah, just in case.
So let's just do a little wrap up on this. Thank you for actually having the patience to sit with us. Hopefully you had a couple of laughs in this. But we do try to make some points that hopefully people can work with a little bit, particularly creative people in the world, of which there are so many. And also have some fun. But also, hopefully you can... It might help you align your own thinking, not to think like we're thinking, but just to refine your feelings about, how important arts and culture is in this world, how significant it is to be having discussions about arts and culture, not being afraid to digress and maybe be subversive on certain issues, which is frankly what artists should be doing. But the idea is to just continue to try to encourage our community to do better and better, and we're super proud of what we do here at Cottonwood Center for the Arts. But additionally, we're hoping this message will get out there to other organizations who are asking the same questions. So thank you so much for joining us.
I forgot to clap at the end.
Next one, I will let you do the wrap.
The earth is flat.